In a lot of ways, Serial Cleaner is the antithesis of Hotline Miami. While Digital Devolver's fast-paced action game is all about killing people and leaving a bloody mess, this brand new release from Curve Digital is more focused on that poor guy that has to go in and clean everything up. It's an ingenious take on the genre that trades guns and knives for a mop and vacuum. And while scrubbing puddles of blood may not sound like a great way to spend an afternoon, Serial Cleaner has turned the chore into one of the year's most delightful games. If you've seen Pulp Fiction, then you already know what a cleaner is. He's the guy that shows up at a crime scene and scrubs everything down before the police find incriminating evidence. That pretty much sums up what you're doing in Serial Cleaner. It's the 1970s, and we follow a guy who lives with his mother, desperately trying to pay off his massive debt any way he can. At first he takes the cleanup gigs to earn some quick cash, but it won't take long for our hero to find himself one step behind one of the decade's most prolific serial killers. The jobs usually boil down to 3 simple tasks: cleaning up the blood, disposing of the bodies, and retrieving all the evidence. This is made that much harder by the presence of the police, who are mulling around the crime scene looking for clues. You have no weapons and can't attack, so the cleaner is left to sneak around the stages, grabbing the evidence and picking up dead bodies in broad daylight. It's a risky job where you can get caught at any time, forcing the player to start the level over from the very beginning. What I like about Serial Cleaner is that the story allows our hero to visit a wide variety of diverse stages. You start out by cleaning a local gym and nearby basketball court, followed by visiting the docks, touring the local newspaper, and even sneaking around a discotheque. Some levels are more interactive than others, allowing you to dispose of bodies by feeding them to the alligator or throwing them into a fish tank filled with piranhas. And while these stages may be small and self-contained, they're filled with alternate paths and shortcuts to explore. It's nice to be able to tackle these messes in different ways. The diverse locations aren't limited to the 20 story missions, as Serial Cleaner also features a number of unlockable bonus jobs based on famous movies. These include everything from the mental hospital from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, to dramatic moments from both Taxi Driver and the Rocky Horror Picture Show. My favorite bonus stage is the one based on the original Alien, complete with Kane dead on the table and Ash dripping white blood. If you weren't already sold on the crime thriller story, these movie-inspired crime scenes should get the job done. This is a game that sucked me in right from the opening cinema. I dig the 1970s style and the color scheme, especially when it comes to the wide variety of levels. Although the visuals offer a minimalist approach, the locations are covered with some fun, era-specific details that help lighten the mood. For a game about disposing of dead bodies, Serial Cleaner has a great sense of humor. It walks that line between being a compelling crime thriller and not taking itself too seriously. The goofiness of the premise is on full display with the bonus levels and costumes, which really go a long way to bring some levity. What I don't like is that the game stops introducing new tasks after the first few stages. The game simply repeats the same 3 jobs, which involve picking up the evidence, cleaning up the blood, and disposing of the bodies. You'll occasionally have to move objects and dodge security cameras, but you're always completing the same checklist. It would have been nice to see some missions where you had to plant false evidence, or wash windows, or maybe burn the place down. The fact that you can turn on the radio to distract the cops is cool and all, but it felt like it was only scratching the surface of what you could do with this concept. While it's far from a deep stealth game, there's a lot to like about Serial Cleaner. From the 1970s style, to the varied locations, to the cat and mouse gameplay, I was won over right from the first stage. I wish some of the mechanics were a little more involved, but can't deny the joy of vacuuming up blood and feeding the dead bodies to the alligators. Serial Cleaner is more than a non-violent alternative to Hotline Miami. It's also a damn good action game. Hey, thanks for watching our review. So here's the question of the day. What's the best video game based in the 1970s? Yeah, that's a tough one, but I'm confident you're going to come up with an answer that I never would have thought of. Personally, I'm partial to The Warriors by Rockstar and Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, though you can't go wrong with Hotel Dusk Room 215. Anyway, we have a pretty hectic week planned. We're going to be back later today with a review of After Grinder, followed by Air Missions Hind, Baobab's Mausoleum, and Fallen Legion, plus Electronic Gaming Monthly's worst reviewed games of 1991 on Wednesday. If you're asking me, then I recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.